Can you describe your last meeting at the China trip with Zhou Enlai?
Well, I don't remember it vividly today. I can only recall it from having checked my memoirs on it, which I wrote at least a few years closer to the time it occurred. But I remember it was a very personal meeting. Mao, as I pointed out, was a poet, but Zhou Enlai was also. His widow sent me a collection of his poetry after he died, and I have a beautiful bound volume, and if I ever get the time to learn some Chinese, I'm going to try to read it. But he started the conversation by saying that he noted I had a poetic turn of mind, and I don't know what he's referring to, and then he noted that the toast I had made at one of our dinners, I referred to the fact, this was at the conclusion of our week in China, that we'd made great progress. But then I went on to say that it is impossible, of course, in 1 week to build a bridge across a gulf covering 15,000 miles and 25 years of no communication. And then he started talking about Chinese poetry and how it related to my trip, how it dealt with some of these problems.
In your memoirs, you quote a couple of the poems that he mentioned to you. Could you read those?
I should have memorized them, but I think I can get it better if I read them. Well, he referred to the fact that in our dining room in that beautiful state guest house, they had a poem of from Mao on the wall. It was they put the poem, the calligraphy. It looks like modern art, except it has a lot more form to it than most modern art I've seen. And he said this was about the Lushan Mountains, and the last sentence of it read, "The beauty lies at the top of the mountain." And then he went on to say, "You've risked something to come to China." He said there's another Chinese poem which reads, "On perilous peaks dwells beauty in its infinite variety." And I said, well, we're at the top of the mountain now. And then he went on to say, well, that's one poem. Another one which I would like to put up, but I couldn't find an appropriate place, is in praise of the winter plum blossom. In that poem, the chairman meant that one who makes an initiative may not always be one who stretches out his or her hand. By the time the blossoms are full blown, that is the time they are about to disappear. He took a book from his pocket. He read the poem. He made delicate gestures with his hands as he read. Spring disappears with rain and winds and comes with flying snow. Ice hangs on 1,000 feet of cliff, yet at the tip of the topmost branch, the plum blooms. The plum is not a delicious girl showing off, yet she heralds spring. When mountain flowers are in wild bloom, she giggles in all the color. And then he said, finally, that I might not be around at the time that this initiative reached its ultimate conclusion, that I had taken great risks to come in the first instance, but that under any circumstances, that at least we had opened this initiative.
And that was your parting from Zhou Enlai.